we going to have some kind of an introduction part?
Okay. Shall I start? Or
I would love that, please. I hate starting.
Okay. So, hello everybody. I'm gonna introduce this little conversation. Priska and I, we have been coaching each other for many years now, and maybe we tell our story a little bit later. And we thought for a long time that we could actually share everything, all the experiences we make from our coachings, from experiences we have with our clients, with our students, things that go on, because there might be some nuggets of wisdom for you in this. And this is our first conversation that we share. And we just gonna start with these conversations, maybe once a month, every second month, and you guys can also send us some questions and we can answer them in our upcoming calls. And yeah, we thought that this is an open conversation where we try to feel into the energy of the week, of the day, but if there are questions that come from you guys, and we are very happy to answer them.
Yeah, we love answering questions, don't we?
Yes.
As generators, we love answering questions.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for introducing us, Christina. I'm super excited for this, and I have no clue what's going to happen. And
Me neither.
We're just starting before we're ready. That's how we always start, right? And
yes,
we don't even have a name yet, but we're just starting out where we're at today. And I don't know if you want to just shortly tell a bit about what you're doing, so that people have some kind of an idea. You know, when we're saying we're working with people.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, what we're doing. And maybe also why we're talking English together, because it's not the normal language we're talking together.
Exactly. Normally we talk Schweizerdeutsch, in Swiss German. So first we thought, let's do it in Swiss German. But we have international clients and we have many friends around the world. So we want to open these conversations for as many people as possible, even though it's not our mother tongue. But yeah, for me, English is sometimes even easier than Swiss German, because I have been doing all my dance studies when I trained as a dancer in English-speaking countries, and these were like the formative years. So English is really natural for me, even though I don't know all the words, but yeah.
We don't have to, don't we?
Don't. Yes.
You know, like I'm living in the Netherlands right now. Like I moved to the Netherlands like 4 years ago. Oh my God, 2016. Yeah, in April 2016. And for me, it's like, because I'm actually having a relationship in English, like with my partner, because he's Dutch. Even if I speak Dutch now, we still speak English together. So for me, English is also like, it's just coming naturally, but it doesn't mean in any way that I don't make a gazillion of mistakes or pronounce things wrongly or whatever. But I don't, it's just so funny, because we were also discussing if we wanted to do this in German, like not in Swiss German, but in German, so that more people could understand us. But for both of us, it was like, no, this feels so icky. It really feels like more of a foreign language to us, like actually English, right?
That's true, because for me, the German would feel a bit like playing theater.
Yeah.
And this brings us back maybe to our beginnings, where we met, because in 2012, I was on a big search of how to build my own business, how to offer my services to the world. And I made every online course possible in the field of online marketing, online course, spiritual growth, or self-development. And most of them were in people from English-speaking countries.
Yeah.
And I was always like the foreigner or the Swiss girl. And suddenly I found another Swiss girl in one of these international courses, and this was Priska. And then we met, and we I think we had a date in Bern.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It was actually a mastermind. It started out as a mastermind. I think it was the first time, because first we wanted to meet, but then your girl got sick.
Oh yeah, that's true. And then we did B school together.
Exactly. Yes.
Marie Forleeuw's B school, and there we had a Swiss mastermind, and that's where we met. Yes,
exactly. And it was love at first sight.
Yes, it was like meeting an old friend, and even though I didn't know anything about Priska, I knew everything about Priska.
It's exactly like that. Yeah. And it was just astonishing. We had so many things in common, because we're not only interested in self-development, coaching, spirituality, but also like online business, but also like we share the passion for the stage,
Yes.
Because you're a dancer, you're a professional dancer and choreographer, and I'm an actress. So we both have this big love for stages, for telling stories, for performing. So like we had like this click on all levels. Like, oh my God, and we got like excited. I think we could have talked for days.
Yes,
yeah,
that's true. Hasn't changed.
No, we always meet up and like, okay, like just let's do it for half an hour. Right?
Yes, I don't really have some.
Yeah,
anything,
exactly. And then 2.5 hours later, oh shit. Yeah, that's how we work, right?
Yes. So do you want to explain what your current business is?
Yeah, I'd love to. Like, I actually started out with just coaching women and supporting them in how I called it in German, die innere Heldin wachküssen, to kiss your inner hero awake. It's actually all about self-growth, about self-empowerment, about finding your voice, standing for your truth, going for your dreams. But I made a switch, because since I'm living in the Netherlands together with my partner, he's also a coach. We also have similar backgrounds. It was a bit like Christina and I were a match made in heaven. My partner, my fiance and I were a match made in heaven too. He also has the same background with acting and coaching and teaching. And so we decided to have a business together. And so we're into relationship coaching. So like we're both intimacy and relationship experts, supporting women in attracting the love of their life, like really removing the blocks that keep them from getting the love they want, and supporting soulmate couples in like through the trigger fests. We all know them, who are in a relationship like that, in these deep kind of relationships where all these triggers come up, all these old pains come up, so that this love can get even more deeper through these processes. Let's call it like that.
Yes, because that's like an ever evolving journey together.
Yeah. Every time we think, now we figured it out, the next hit
Exactly.
It's always like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So and like just about me, I'm living here, as I said, in the Netherlands. I'm from Bern, Switzerland. I'm living here with my soon-to-be husband, our 2 street dogs from Romania. And I'm putting out the Romanian dogs before our kids. Like, I don't no, it's just because they're right now not here. Yeah. They're not my biological kids. They're my step kids, and they're 1 week with their mom, 1 week with us. And so we're having this blended family situation. And that's me in a nutshell. Exactly.
Yeah.
And now I'm so curious to hear your nutshell, because it's very hard to put you in a nutshell.
Yes, a story of my life to figure out how to bring it all together. Trained as a dancer and choreographer. That's like, I feel like this is my soul's journey. And I'm also teaching dance classes, and I'm also a yoga teacher. And then I'm a coach, so I also guide men and women on their journey to find their potential, to find in all areas of their life. So I love to look at it in a holistic way. Some of them come through me through my yoga, and then we figure out, actually in your relationship there's something not working, or other people, they come to the coaching and we realize you should be moving more, and then we connected with yoga or body work. So I have dance, I have yoga, I have coaching, and then I also love to paint and make any kind of art. So mainly through dance and painting, but I also love to make music. I play the piano, and so that's...
You just are talented with everything that you're doing. And by the way, we're looking at one of your pictures, right, in the background.
This is one of my paintings.
Yeah, yes. Amazing. I love that. It's this nature line that you did, right? With Mother Earth.
Lots of water, and yes, exactly.
So beautiful. I love your pictures. Well, I actually love everything that you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Because you're also actually a nutritionist. Like you have so much knowledge about food. You're the most holistic person, like from the spiritual background to the like nurturing background to the like soul art, like just on every level, emotional, like emotional, soul, spirit, everything gets just nurtured with you. Body, of course, too, with yoga and everything. That like it's just so beautiful what you're doing. So all your clients are always very holistically.
Yeah, thank you. I try, but sometimes. I mean, I know it's a blessing, but sometimes it's also a struggle.
I get that.
To know where to focus, because my mind sometimes goes, whoops, all these possibilities.
Exactly. I know the struggle,
Yes, exactly. And I think for a lot of people, this is actually a struggle. Or I also thought back to the days, and you might have the same experiences. You have chosen a path, but then you have all the other interests, and then you kind of know that you want to start your own business, but where to choose from? There's so much possibility, and I think that never really stops, because you constantly have new ideas within your own business. And how was it for you when you started to decide on which track you're gonna go and where you want to create offers for your clients and students?
Are you talking to me, or are you talking to the listeners right now?
For you, I want to ask you, how was it for you in the beginning? How did you find that?
It was a journey, to be honest, because I always wanted to be an actress. That was my big dream since I can think of. I wanted to be an actress. And there was a point in my life, I became an actress, I made a whole education, and a point in my life when I couldn't work, I just couldn't agree with the business. The business really made me sick. It made me also, I just didn't like the energies there. I was just too sensitive for it all. Mm-hmm. And I remember I had got a contract from an agent, and everybody wants an agent, right, as an actor. Mm-hmm. And somebody wanted me, and I just couldn't sign that contract, because I felt like I'm some kind of a property, and I have to just play whatever they want me to play, because they make money with what I'm doing. So I felt like a piece of meat, and I really couldn't sign that. So this is when I knew I cannot pursue this as a career any longer. Otherwise, I'm really getting sick, because I got sick all the time, like constantly. So I had to figure out new ways, and I then had a big crisis in my life, and my back then boyfriend broke up with me, and I just lost everything. And this is when all my whole soul search began. And then I got into coaching, into spiritual practices, Reiki, healing things. And all of a sudden there were all these options, because acting was still there, and I wanted to support people, but I was constantly torn apart between all the things that I loved doing in my life. So I know the struggle that you're talking about. But then I felt like, okay, I want to focus on helping women. This is where I felt most drawn to. And this is when I started doing this women's work. And still I was acting to the side. It was not my main job anymore, but it was some kind of a half-half kind of thing. And then when I moved to the Netherlands and I gave up my whole life in Switzerland, I sold my whole, gave everything away, sold the rest. And everything just fitted in a trunk, came to the Netherlands. And just me, my little dog, and a little room that I could afford there. And it was a very hard time, because we have my partner and I have a very, very crazy love story. We can talk about this another time. But in any house, I was very alone, because he was busy with other things. And this is when I realized that all the tools I've learned were helping me so much to pulling me through this time. Like because I really was so lonely, and still I was feeling nourished from the inside out. And this is when I knew I have to put this out there in a bigger way. And this is when I started doing group programs, and and it just came naturally. And from the start, I had like filled programs. People loved what I did. They had big breakthroughs. So it was really a journey. I felt like I kissed my inner Shiro awake. So this is why I felt like, okay, I have to do that with women too. Also, the acting fell away, because I couldn't act in the Netherlands. I couldn't speak a word Dutch back then, right?
Yes.
So it was impossible. And then Bas and I, my partner, his name is Bas, we had a lot to go through as a couple, because in a nutshell, he was married when we met. So we did not even only had to, I did not only have to move my country, he had to leave a marriage. So you can imagine all the shitstorm that happened, all the guilt, all the judging from society, everything that happened. So, and then he got sick, and it's a very long story. But anyhow, we made it through all of this, and we felt that we have some kind of a responsibility to pass that on.
Yeah.
To share that thing.
All the lessons were thrown at you.
Seriously, I mean, it felt like, oh my goodness, life. Can we have a break here?
Nope.
Because it really is one thing after the other. Really, the last 4 years since I've moved here have been like really not a walk in the park. It has been the hardest time of my life, and at the same time, also the biggest growth happens this time. So this is how it's like life kind of brought the things into like my way, that I felt like, okay, this is how it has to be. And
what I guess you get asked this a lot, like what would you suggest to people who kind of know they want to have their own business, but they're kind of on their search, how can I find my mission, how can I find my true calling? What was it that helped you to I mean, you said it's kind of life brought it into your reality. Were there exercises or things you did? I know you did a lot of work.
I did also with you, because it helped me massively during that time. But to be honest, I think that the most important part is what we're doing right now, just starting before you're ready. And you don't have to know, the end already. It's about really just taking one step after the other, and really taking that next step that feels best. And mostly it's also the one that feels a bit scary, because you don't know yet, it's, you don't feel really confident in it. But I really think if you just have to start. And when you take that leap of faith, life is giving you the wings and shows you the way and leads you. And sometimes you feel totally lost, because I felt so many times lost and think, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? How did I end up here? And it all makes sense, because it's just a puzzle piece that you're picking up there. So it's a lot about trusting this process, that you will be guided to the thing that you're meant to be doing, and everything on this path is part of it. So I think this is the most important thing. So trust, like really trusting life and training that trust. It's also a muscle, is certainly something very important. Of course, there are tools, like, for example, you did many meditations with me, like have visualizations, imagining ideal days, feeling into how do I want to feel. This is like one thing that we also teach always our clients when they want to attract a partner. How do you want to feel when you're in a relationship? Because we can imagine everything, how it looks from the outside, but if we get it and it doesn't feel like that way, it's just meaningless. It doesn't make that's just not what we want, right? We want to feel a certain way. This is why we do things. So it's all about the feelings. So these are the things I did. And you, because I know that for you, this is, as you said, it's struggle of your life. And I know it's always like, oh my goodness, so much, and I have this and this, and because we didn't talk about you having also 2 kids, right? So you're also mom.
That's true. I always leave this.
Detail.
No, because I think I never mention it, because it feels so natural to me to be a mother. I think when I was 14, I already knew I wanted to have kids. And also stepping into motherhood was not such a struggle for me. It didn't feel like this is a big life lesson. It's kind of more like a fulfilling of a dream,
Beautiful.
That's maybe because the kids are my most important like I couldn't imagine life without them. But it's how I remember in 2012, even though I always try to follow my heart. That's also why I chose the path to become a dancer and to study abroad. I studied in London, and I had this inner trust always in me that no matter what, there will be doors opening for me. And then I even though it was a tough 4 years in London, and I also I struggled more with the city life and not being close to nature as much as I used to then, because I loved the physical activity of a dancer's life. I loved that, even though it was tough. But after my degree in London, I had a contract with a company, and then the choreographer had an accident, and she had an injury at her back. So I came back to Switzerland to have a little job, and that's when I came together with my now husband. We met again, we were old friends, and we fell in love, and I realized this time I'm not going to go again, because I had many or more like affairs or short-term relationships where I left because of the dance. This time and even though I wanted a relationship so badly, and this time I really felt like I'm going to stay. So all my connections in the dance world, I had to leave in London, and I came back and I had to start again from scratch.
Wow. And
I was totally lost. The relationship was really my anchor, which wasn't so healthy either. So
not so healthy.
Not so healthy because, it was an anchor, but kind of I was lost in this relationship for a while, I felt like. And then I started to work in fitness centers. I also trained as a fitness instructor.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. Oh my goodness.
And then I worked in call centers and in restaurants, and everything was not really fulfilling. And then I started teaching. I was really afraid first because I felt like, I don't have much experience. I had been teaching a little, but so that was the first time where I thought, okay, just let's do it, start before you're ready. So I really grew into this role as a dance teacher. And the hardest was probably teaching teenagers, because they're so direct and cruel and no mistakes allowed. So they were a good learning field. And then, so that got more and more, and suddenly I'm teaching every day and different schools, and really overcoming my fear of talking because I was like, I could not speak sometimes. I was really, when I was ready to speak, the conversation was probably already over. Okay. So I was, in my family, we wouldn't really talk a lot. So teaching was a really good lesson for me to just stand in front and use my voice. Yeah. And then in 2012, I think when I had my second child, I was really, really unhappy because I felt my inner artist was lost, and I had to find a new path again. And it was really hurtful because I didn't know where to start. And at the same time, while I was teaching, I always felt like I was coaching people, like after classes or outside of dance classes. And I thought, why not, start coaching in a deeper way? And so I did a lot of coaching courses and looked more into this. And then also kind of ways to connect art and creativity with coaching. So my first introduction to this was Laura Holick's soul art method, where you really use your creativity to connect with your intuition. And then through this process, because she's also an artist soul, I realized, yes, that's it, because I really abandoned all my creativity in a way where I could really create outside of the class. Of course, when you are teaching, you are also creative, but not like in a way where you go out with your art.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I was always afraid to do that. I think I was so afraid of my own fears, I had so much doubt. So I started just painting and sharing my art. And then I started choreographing again. And also there I stumbled a lot and still do. And there's a lot to learn, but somehow this all came together, and then suddenly I was doing everything. So I was coaching people, and I created art and teaching, and so that's what I'm still doing. And I feel like every aspect of me is somehow nurtured. And I think I would suggest that to people, that when you cannot decide, just offer different things, because you kind of have a toolbox with all your experiences. And maybe when you work with this person, you need this tool from your toolbox, and when you're working with this person, you need this other tool. So just start, and on the way find where you attract most people, what feels good to you, and also find out which activities really fuel you, and activate, inspire, or fuel you, inspire you, and which activities like really drain you and take away your energy.
That's a very wise tip.
And I think this is constantly changing, Maybe some things drain you because there is so much fear you still have to go through. And 5 years later, you can do it easily because you have gone through a lot of healing.
Exactly. I also think it has to always feel a bit scary, but not that it's like totally blocking you. If it's blocking you, like then it's too out of your reach, then you have to take a step back and look for something else where you also still feel this feel of it's a bit scary, but still you can do it, and you feel somewhere that you have the strength to see it through.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. And there was a question that popped up, and of course it's now gone. You said you were very much afraid of putting yourself out there, right? To show who you are, because you are afraid of being afraid, which is such a big thing of everybody, like, stepping up and really make yourself visible, right? Because it's one of the biggest fears we all have, because of, not so long time ago, we just got burned, right? When we spoke our truth or were different and were visible as women. How did you work through that part? Like, this fear of the fear, what helped you there most? Can you remember that?
I think I still have it. I think we all have our fears, and meditation helps me a lot. So I always, every day, I go into my future self. I visualize my future self, and how this future self, where does my future self live? What are the projects she's working on, what people are around her, and so on. And so this vision, I keep it through the day, and I know that, I trust that this will somehow, this or even better, will happen, and that the fear is actually just here to make us safe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a limited mind.
Absolutely.
Which is based on the experience, all the experiences you have made so far. So your past self that's behind you, it's a collection of all the experiences you made, but your soul, when you go into your heart and you really connect with your true self, this can already look into the future.
Absolutely.
That's
also,
what I'm focusing.
Yeah, that's so good that you said that, because in the end, it's not even just what we have experienced. It's like it's what all our ancestors have experienced. It's what the collective has experienced. Because I just read this amazing book by Dr. Valerie Rain. It's called The Patriarchy Stress Disorder. I think every woman should read that. It's about how these we all have a trauma somewhere. Yes. And this trauma is inherited through DNA. It's like proven that you can inherit trauma because it's literally in your DNA.
Exactly.
And we don't even know that. So we all have these prison guards up telling us what to do and what we cannot do, and that they want to keep us small because they actually want to keep us safe.
Yes.
Right? Because they don't want us to burn at the stake again, or being like excluded from society, or being, I don't know, like all the horrific things people did to women, because we were there to serve men. We were there to be decoration, some kind of like, or we were there to get married to rich people, so that they could like merge families. This was the idea of the patriarchy back then, and this is still within us. So when we step out of that, of course, all these prison guards come up and say, "Hey, go back." And it's so important that what you say, that we know about this trauma, that we work on that trauma, and that we are really focusing on this future self. And you call it future self. I always call it the inner shiro, that we have to wake up, but it's also the same thing. It's a part that already lives within us. But you said in your soul, like this, in your heart, there lies the truth. And that's exactly what the shiro also knows. This part of us that knows we're made for so many greater things.
Yes.
We can do so much more than we thought we can.
Yeah, and a good practice or exercise I do also with my clients, when this fear comes up, really make it a person or a figure. Like really imagine, what does it look like? Give it a name. Maybe you can even draw it, and then put it somewhere, like on the floor where you can look down to it, or on your hand. And whenever this comes up, it's kind of like a bell that's ringing. Oh, hello, here you are again. And I once did a little piece about this figure. I realized my inner critic was like a really strict, thin woman. Like she was like smoking cigarettes the whole time, and she was very nervous, and she was like pointing with the finger all the time, and her fingers were like really stingy, and and I did a little, and I danced her, and it was so liberating to put her outside of my system and realize that she's just a construction in my head.
Yeah, and she wants to keep you safe, right? She's not like there to be a bad girl, woman.
Exactly.
When you said it, it reminded me of Fräulein Rottenmeier.
Yeah, exactly. Fräulein Rottenmeier. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like from Heidi, this story of Heidi.
She was the nanny, right?
I think when Heidi had to go to Germany to where Clara was, to go in the wheelchair, she was this, I don't know, the landlady, I think she was, or the nanny. I don't remember exactly. But she was a super strict, thin, rigid lady, or I imagined her to be thin and strict.
Absolutely, that's absolutely
so interesting. And I love that, putting it out, like taking it out of your system. Also, like having a worry book where you write down all the worries that you're having in your head, instead of keeping them and repeating them, really putting them out, or drawing them, like when you're so artistic as you are.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't have to be like a perfect in drawing. You can just make it a color, or like a black monster or whatever. It's important that you realize that this is like a guard that's standing in front of your heart, and it just says stop whenever you have a new idea, or stop whenever you want to make a big leap.
Yeah.
And just don't listen to. Another exercise is to give this character a new job. Like, for instance, pick all the pineapples on an island, or like go away, or leave it in another country, or like give it a job because it needs a job.
Okay, I've never done that.
Because the mind always wants to
keep us occupied.
Figure out something, you know?
Yeah, that's true. We always want to figure things out. So we have to ask ourselves the smart questions, right? To keep the mind busy with the good questions. And I also always say, like putting the fear, because you cannot get rid of the fear, right? The fear is part of life. We're living in this duality. There is fear. And she wants us to protect us, but not seeing her as our enemy, but really as a friend, somebody who wants to help us. But putting her on the back seat, so like, listen, I hear you. I hear you. You want to protect me, and I'm behind the driver's seat, and I'm going to steer that vehicle wherever I want to steer it to, right?
Yes.
So you can help me figure out where I'm being reckless, or where I'm not listening to my intuition or whatever, but you're not telling me what to do in general.
Yeah, that's another part in you that does this job.
They have a job there, right?
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear also from the people who are listening, if you're having other exercises or how you're dealing with these fears, or the fear of fear, which is a very famous fear, right? That keeps us in a place that we know, in this comfort zone, which is maybe not very comfortable, but still we know what is happening, how it hurts, and we can deal with it. But this is not where the miracles are happening, right? In this little box. So
something that you listeners or watchers can ponder upon, like how do you deal with fear, or when you make a big leap, is there something that you need to leave behind or not listen to, and maybe do the exercise with giving the fear a figure, a character, a name, a form, and share your experiences, because we could do this every week, actually, this exercise.
Every day, maybe even.
Every day.
Especially the worry book, when you really put out all your worries, you could every moment when it's coming into your mind, you could just write it out, put it out in the system.
Yes.
Give it a place to be, just not in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love this painting. I think I'm going to try that one out. I never did that.
Yeah, because it's
her.
Anything you can do. You can also sing about her, or do a little movie about her, whatever. And make it kind of real, because when it's stuck in your head, it's part of you. When you can put it out, it's something you can tell to stop, or to go out, or to not interrupt with your own feelings.
True. Yeah.
And another closing word, or something that helps me always when I want to start a new project, or something that feels overwhelming in the beginning, where I feel like I'm not ready, is to just start with maybe 20 minutes a day doing that thing, and not having to have it all together yet.
Yeah. No, because then you're blocking yourself.
Exactly.
Like really making an edible pieces, so that you don't choke up on it and feel like, oh my goodness, it's a whole Mount Everest in front of you.
Yes.
I love that.
Little steps, and 10 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it is that you can do to start before you feel you're ready.
Oh my goodness. And we did it. We did it. I don't even know how long we've been talking about having this conversation, having this...
Years.
Really? Years? Yes. Oh my goodness.
I think so. Years.
But I still have to figure out a name that fits us.
Yes. Maybe the watchers or listeners have also an idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
we have to talk about the bloopers quickly.
Oh my goodness.
Priska and I, we love to watch bloopers. Bloopers. Maybe you can explain what a blooper is.
A blooper is actually an outtake, mostly in movies, when they, like, I don't know, when they hit their heads all of a sudden, or they fall off the bed, and then there's this stuff that happens in movies or also in theaters or whatever that actually are not meant to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's very funny because, of course, mostly they're very seriously acting, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, like somebody gets something in their face.
Or they start to laugh.
Or they start to laugh. Yeah, my goodness, I can just, like, nothing cheers me up like watching a blooper video.
Yes, always at the end of the movie, the bloopers are just the best part. And we said it would be so cool to have a collection of our own bloopers, you know, when we record something. I mean, this whole video is a blooper. But, and I was thinking that actually the life gives us so many bloopers. You know, we always fall, and we always, it doesn't happen like we imagined it to happen. And that's where, but actually these bloopers of life are the best learning lessons, where we grow the most. And
the zest of life.
Exactly.
The zest of life, the blooper. We have to think about it, the blooper town or something. I don't know, like we would just have to brainstorm some more. But if you have some ideas, let us know. Yeah. And we have, again, no clue when we'll be back and where we will be back, if we have our own YouTube channel already or not, but we will keep you guys posted. And just tell us if you have any questions or topics that you would love us to talk about. We'd love to do that. And
yes, any questions, just send them in. And we link all our informations below, and you can send in all your questions.
Yeah. Yay!
Yay!
It's a wrap!
Müssen wir noch einen Abschlusssatz sagen? Einfach bye. Bye haben wir nicht gesagt.
Oh, okay.
1, 2, 3. Ich kann nicht einfach schwarz machen.
Bye! Ja, Mann, das kannst du.
Maybe just one last bye.
Okay, let's have 1, 2. Oh. Can it be so hard? Okay. Don't look at me like that!
I have to look into the camera.
Okay, let's look in the camera. Very seriously.
Okay.
Bye! Seriously, we have been talking now for friggin' 45 minutes and we cannot say goodbye.
Okay. So we close this conversation.
Conversation was a very good bye.